Hello, Freedom Nation. It's Jeff here once again with another episode of the Freedom Nation podcast on YouTube, on all the podcast channels. We are here to share with you the stories of people who have found their Freedom Day, who have created freedom, who have done something unique in their lives that they're doing what they enjoy. So today I get to interview somebody who's been a hero of mine for a long time, for a big chunk of my life. I used to see him on infomercials on TV. I used to see him sharing his knowledge, and he was sharing his knowledge before there was a thing called the internet. He was out there researching and making it easier for people to find things. I'll be interviewing Matthew Lesko today. Some of you may know him as the question mark guy. So that's what we're going to do. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just 1 second.
Everything you're looking for, it's all in you. You gotta believe that it's all in you. Everything you're searching for, it's all in.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. And Matthew, welcome. How are you today, sir?
Just fine. I wish I was where you are, though. Here in Southern Texas. And I'm in Washington, D.C. That's bad for many reasons.
Well, when we reverse seasons and we're heading into our summer here, I would rather be where you're at. So we'll just swap. Yeah, we'll just house swap next year. And you can be down here for the summer and I'll go up there for that this time of the year. Well, Matthew, welcome to the show. Like I said, honestly, have been a huge fan for years. I remembered your infomercials when I was growing up. You were really the first person to go out and take what was public information and really pull it into things that made it useful for people. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get started doing what you do?
It's failure. I'll tell you what, doing something. It's not. But more importantly, when you said you're a big fan, man, growing up as a kid, I never thought I'd be a fan, anybody's fan, or have a fan, or besides getting, eliminate the heat. So that's really special. I appreciate that, and I always do because I know in a second it could disappear.
Yep.
I don't know. Life is so. Anybody like if you're gonna stop me on the street, take a picture, boy, I will stop because it's such a privilege, to have somebody say something nice about you, especially nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the challenge we all live with that have a public life is, for every one person or two persons that like you, there's always got to be the hater that's, they're jealous or whatever. Or I think there's just people that are unhappy and they have nothing better to do.
Come home and kick the dog.
Yeah.
But me, I was, the freedom. I mean, that's what was, I think, in my mind, back, when I was in teens or 20ish. I mean, what to do with your life. And I knew I hated working for people. I mean, I'd get a job for 6 months and it would just feel like jail. And that was just terrible in my mind. Are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, we may have a little bit of a lag with our internet connections today. So,
but that was it. I mean, I go to work, and then people say, "Oh, I want to do something myself." And they say, "Isn't that scary?" I said, "What's scarier is staying here and hating
it." And looking at it and going, "I've got 40 more years of this ahead of me."
That's what's scary.
Yeah.
So I started businesses and. I went to college and there was a draft when I graduated, barely with the skin of my teeth, and I didn't want to be drafted and be camping in the jungles of Vietnam.
Yep.
So I joined the Navy and slept in sheets every night and watched the war.
And had 5-star dining every night, Hey.
Right, exactly. Right. And that was good. Then it was a diplomatic career, which was great in Northern Europe. So good experiences. I think I never had more responsibility again for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, not only as a diplomatic carrier with a gun on a commercial airline and packages, I have no idea what there's in, and then also driving around a billion-dollar ship in the South China Seas as a
Yep.
22-year-old kid, man. You just don't get that kind of. Then I got out and I got the GI Bill to get an MBA, and then I started business. Well, I worked for somebody again. I hated that. Started businesses that kept failing. I had a couple information businesses and software company that failed. And back in the '70s, man, I was been the only person that had a software company that failed, but thank God.
Yeah.
And so all the failures, and hustled all the time. I was a professor for a while because at that time, being a professor of computers, all you had to do is know how to spell it. There's nobody was around. I was taking the one class at one university and teaching the same class at another university and keeping them
You're literally
week
2
behind.
weeks ahead of everybody else.
Exactly right. And that's what it is. And that's why it's always good to get on the beginning of a wave.
Mhm.
When the wave kind of coming in, then you need a PhD and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I became a consultant to Fortune 500 companies, finding information, stuff like that. And I was in Washington. So I just couldn't find all this stuff in Washington. I had no idea. I mean, I grew up in a little coal mining town in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Didn't know anything about this stuff, and I thought to me the government was the post office and the IRS.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I go in there, and what shocked me is that a kid from Pennsylvania, could go into these offices and talk to these bureaucrats and just give me all this information and money programs, and I'd give them to my millionaire clients who would make billions. I said, "Gee, why doesn't everybody know about this stuff?" So that was my first successful business. And one of the keys is that your customers are rich.
Yeah.
That's a safer business than anything else because they'll pay for anything.
Yeah.
So that way,
anything that'll make them richer, they'll pay for.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So you just convince them that this will make you richer. They'll give you anything. I mean, it's so funny too, particularly service business. That's why I think now it's, and even back then, it's so easy to start businesses. Now, absolutely easier than ever before.
Sure.
Because if you have a service business or anything, it's you're in the shoe shine business. You get a shoe shine brush for $50 or whatever, and you find shoes.
Yeah.
And now, and even then, people think, no, I have to raise $1 million.
Yeah.
I got to do all of this. I have to be an LLC. All that stuff is bullshit to me, because especially after I did all that from an MBA and I failed. So I said, hey, what am I doing wrong here? First of all, I thought I wasn't having fun.
Yep.
And I was failing. And so that just sounded stupid. That I'm going to find things that I don't have fun at. And who knows how long until I really am successful and have fun. And that's not a given anyway.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this sounds stupid. So I said, well, I'll flip it around. I'm going to have fun first. Because I have fun now. Then if I fail or not, I don't even have to worry about having fun later because I'm having fun now.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And then the big thing too is what your show's about is having that freedom. I mean, just every time I was anywhere working for somebody, it just was like jail. Doing things coming in on weekends just to show my face or what, not being there. And I said, what a waste of time and energy. So I had to do something.
So you started, you kind of shifted gears. You took that information, from my understanding, you took that information that you were gathering for the rich people and you started to gather that for everybody, right?
Absolutely. I said, why don't people in Wilkes-Barre know about this? So the only way to do that was books. I couldn't charge them thousands of dollars like it was the rich people. So I could charge them $30, but it had to be a book. That's what they do. They couldn't do consulting with them. And so I got a publisher. Somebody found me, and flunking English in college, me writing a book was like being on Mars. I wouldn't know. But when somebody found me, said, hey, why don't you write a book on that? And actually that came from publicity. What I learned how to do is get publicity for my business because that's cheapest marketing you'll ever get. And so you don't have to have a marketing partner. I was putting one-edge ads in the Wall Street Journal and I was getting nothing. People writing in on napkins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I said, oh God, the Wall Street Journal wrote me up. So then I started trying to think of things to get publicity to let people know what I do.
Hmm.
And that led to somebody else who thought there was a book there and sold it to somebody in New York. And actually, the book that I first wrote was a copy of a government manual
Okay.
called The Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance.
Got it.
And that's like 30, $40 at the time in the government printing office. But see, nothing in the government is copyrighted. So you
Okay.
could take anything in the government and sell the hell out of it. I was
Hmm.
doing that with business publications. And that became a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
but
did
I
my,
mean,
so I tried to
once
find
again, it was okay. It's not plagiarism. It's public
right.
knowledge.
No,
We pay for
that's
it as taxpayers.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
actually, in theory, it is plagiarism, but plagiarism not illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Copyright infringement is.
Exactly. And I
Yeah,
mean, the thing with that is though, you got it out to people because nobody's going to look for
right.
that thing.
Exactly. Right.
And you were able to popularize it. So let's switch back just slightly
Uh-huh.
because you're doing all this in the pre-internet days. So you
Yeah.
couldn't just pop up a YouTube thing
Right.
or throw a thing out on X or
Right.
Facebook or Instagram. What were you doing to kind of promote yourself and get out in front of people so
Yeah.
that you could popularize this?
Yeah. That's the key. Now, I've always looked at the internet because back in the 70s, I was in computers.
Hmm.
I mean, and my degree in computers was in management information systems. So it
Okay.
was really information. But you're right. It didn't happen until the internet, that kind of thing. But what I found again is that publicity thing.
Hmm.
If I can, and with books, what I found when I had a book and New York publishers and stuff like that, they were the fodder for all the talk shows. So the talk
Okay.
shows. What I used to do then, I used to write a book for a year and then go 50 cities. I'd be down in Austin for a day, do
Hmm.
5, 6, 7, 8, 10 shows, say the same thing,
Yeah.
and get on a plane, go up to Dallas and do it, and go over to Houston and do it. And
Hmm.
I guess that's enough there. And then I
Yeah.
go somewhere else. And I fly around the country doing that. Then I do it, you're live at 5 and your noon show
Hmm.
and good morning, Austin, and
Yeah.
good night, whoever it is, and local radio talk shows. And they need to fill that time.
Hmm.
And you don't have to buy it. You just have to be
Yeah.
there. And the same thing, then I like doing that because when I was a professor, I used to teach computers to people who were coming at night to get their degree at the local university. And my mission was not teaching, keeping them awake so I
Hmm.
could teach them. So to me, teaching was number one, you keep them awake.
Yeah.
So then with media, it's even more so. Because they're paying in school to come and they still fall asleep.
Hmm.
But in the media, people have the radio on, the TV on, they're doing
Yep.
something else. So you have to grab them. And that's what I always thought. If I ever had the Today Show or something like that, I could see them saying, okay, next is Matthew Lesko to talk about government information.
Oh.
So in my head, I see people going to the bathroom at that time.
Yeah.
Just rush their
Okay. The
teeth
government information guy's coming on. I'm out of here. I'm going to go get a snack.
Right. So what I have in my mind, I got to get that person out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I go on. Hey, did you know you can? Wow, So I see that around the country. My mind is people coming out. What's that idiot talking about? So then I got a chance of educating you.
Yeah.
And then I became the talk shows, the big talk shows. Oprah used me about 3 times or so. Larry King must have been a dozen. He'd call me when a lot of and Letterman were like that, but when somebody canceled, they'd call me because I'd be there in a minute, man. You give me national airtime for free.
Yeah. Whatever it takes, I'm there. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I remember Letterman calling me when I was in Chicago in the middle of the day, and somebody canceled. And God, who was it? It was that great actor I loved. he's still around, to Christopher Walken,
Oh,
because
okay.
he was on the boat that Natalie Wood died on.
Okay.
Remember? Yeah.
Yep.
And so he canceled at last minute. So they got me on an airplane midday in Chicago, and I got there by whenever it was to get on the air. And my biggest thrill, who am I subbing for? You
Yeah.
know? That was or Larry King would lose me. Like, he had an hour show, and he would have like a big star guest on the first half hour, and then filler on the second half hour.
hmm
And so they'd ask me to come and sit in the green room as the second, but
Okay.
they're not sure they'd use me. So
Okay.
at the end of the first hour, half hour, they asked this big star if he could stay.
Okay.
So if he said no, I'm on. He says yes, I go home. They'll use me another day.
Yeah. Hey, and they're
That was
paying
that
for you
kind of
to. They're paying to get you there, so who cares?
exactly. But not only that, it's the exposure. I'd go on those
Yeah.
shows. Really, when I was getting my 800 number, I mean, I'd make piles like that. Yeah, they weren't in the bookstore. See, I didn't do it in the bookstore. That's
Yeah.
I sort of crowdfunded after that.
Okay.
Uh, I would I have a book idea, and then I'd sort of like sell it and see if people want it. And enough people didn't order it, I'd send the money back and say something or other.
Yeah.
Instead of, as a small entrepreneur, I couldn't print 100,000 books, get them all in
No.
bookstores, whatever. But with direct response, boy, on the 800 number, I didn't even need books.
Yep. Well, but I mean, it was a
And
great way to do a little bit of market test. I mean, it's so funny how
exactly.
people, even today, I mean, it's so easy today. I mean,
Oh,
if you had, Kindle Direct Publishing back
right.
then, I mean, it's so easy today to even
Right.
do that. I mean, you can create something quickly, test it.
Right.
If it sucks, okay, it's the time that it took me to put that together,
Right.
but I didn't go out and print, 100,000
Well,
or
just even
10,000
when
books.
I grew up, I thought I'd have a store or something like that, a
Yeah,
retail store.
sure.
And, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars no matter when. Now
Yeah.
for $20, you got a store on Etsy.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah, or $39 a month for, Kindle. Well, Kindle doesn't cost anything, but for an Amazon
Yeah,
store,
right,
39
exactly.
bucks, and you're in Amazon's ecosystem at that point.
Right.
They're doing all the
Yeah,
work to get people in.
exactly. No,
Yeah.
that's why.
It's amazing.
And the key is the customer. That's in the beginning of my videos or commercials. I used to ask my friends after I did them and think, what they like, not like, and try to make changes. And it occurred to me, they never bought from TV. What do I care
Yep.
what they think?
Yeah.
That's why experts don't know. You got to get your customers' opinion. That's why the closer you get something that you could say, hey, I got this, you want to buy it, not hey, would you buy it or anything, and you can.
Yeah.
You could even put a hope and a dream on a crowdfunding site. I'm going to buy this. You want to get it half price if you order now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody orders, you don't have to do it.
Then you're fine. Yeah. Or okay, there's a certain
not
crowd
to
of
do it.
people that are truly interested in this, and all right, now there's a there at this point.
Well, I think that so many people that start anything don't play up the failure part enough. They're so optimistic, and then so they want to make sure all is going to happen, and they hire the lawyers and all this kind of stuff to be careful. And what lawyers and experts, none of that matters.
Nope.
The only thing that matters is the customer, who's going to pay money.
Yeah.
And what's your plan B? So that's another thing, that you have to not spend all that money on all that crap that isn't critical to your success. The only thing critical to your success is a customer. Everything else is sort of detailed, doesn't matter one way or another, probably. Maybe a little bit, but if you don't have a customer, you're not in business.
Yeah.
So if you concentrate on that first and not spend any money, particularly with it is now. I mean, I used to spend $100,000 on a commercial, was nothing. Now I got an iPhone for $20 and I got a commercial. Yeah.
Sure.
And you have to plan for failure. So much of us plan for success.
Yeah.
Because that's nice to think about.
Well, but I think, I think it's a mindset difference too, Matthew. If you plan for failure, that's the worst that can possibly happen, is you fail.
Yeah.
But if you have any modicum of success out of that, you're automatically putting yourself in such a better position. If you come in
Yeah.
thinking, I'm going to make millions of dollars on this
Right.
idea, and you end up not selling it to more than 5 people,
Right.
that crushes you in the end. So
Yeah.
I
No,
I,
it does.
I
And
applaud
it
you.
did, it did to me in the beginning. And that's why I stopped because it took me so long to recuperate.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of just going, and also my successes really start with mediocre ideas.
Okay.
It's the best idea I could think, and then it evolves, like what I'm doing now. Wow, it evolved. But see,
Yeah.
you spend shoot your load of money on that first reiteration, and that is likely not only possibly fail, you're going to have to change, but it
Yeah.
leads you to something you should have thought the first time. But if you blew all your money, you don't have that chance
That's
to do
precisely
it.
it. That's
Yeah,
precisely it. So let's
yeah,
talk a little bit about that. You've evolved. First off, I hope people realize how innovative you have been in your. I mean, you were doing things in the late '80s and early '90s that people didn't even start talking about until the 2000s period.
right.
I mean, some of this stuff of testing markets, going out, almost
Yeah,
crowdfunding and things like that. Nobody was doing that. Nobody even
right.
knew that term before
Yeah,
then. So, I'm not being a fanboy, but I'm saying this
uh,
is, if you don't realize this is the stuff that you need to do to be successful, and not, so much of this world is, oh, well, you've got to go out and raise $5 million, and,
and
you do your,
that's
your first round, and then, then you're going
exactly
to be
true.
successful.
Right.
Well, no, then you're going to sit around on your butt because you've
Yeah,
got $5 million in the bank, and you can burn
right,
through that until the next round.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I just think it's the most stupid thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
So how has your business? I mean, you always seem to be at the front end of it. So how has
yeah,
your business evolved? Because now with the internet, people have access to more of this information. I
right,
mean, it's still hard to get because you have to know where to
right,
go. But how
definitely.
has your business evolved?
Well, it's funny you ask that because I think about, see, and I don't have a plan on anything. I just have, hey, I want to go there, and see what, because we don't know what the end of the picture looks like because we don't have all the pieces. We think we know the pieces, and that's why a business plan, I think, is stupidest thing you ever did in your life, because you just it's all about taking the first step and seeing what the hell's there,
Yep.
because you're sitting before the first step doesn't look like the first step, and the second step doesn't look like the first. So how can you guess what step 7 is?
Yeah.
And that's the problem in my mind, and it's a very biased opinion, but it, experts will tell you 7 steps, and that's so stupid because you didn't take first step yet.
Mm,
And the world changes. It's sort of like I in my mind, it's sort of like maybe what an artist does, like a Picasso or something, and maybe not even a mediocre artist.
mm,
They sort of have an idea for something, and they
yep.
start putting paint on the canvas, and that changes the idea,
Hmm.
and then it becomes something else, and then that becomes something else. Like what I have now, I just, oh wow, I didn't even think of it when I started this uh, group. Yeah, and because I know people didn't buy books anymore. How the
Mm.
fuck am I going to sell them something?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do consulting because then I have to charge a lot of money,
Hmm.
and I wanted to do something really cheap, you for like $20. And
Okay.
I couldn't even sell a book for $20 in the past because of all the shipping. It had to be at
Sure.
least $40. But I want to figure out how to do it. And I then I heard about groups on Facebook,
Okay.
and said, okay. And I created a free Facebook group, then started charging. Uh, and now it's like 22,000 people,
Okay. Wow.
and bigger than I ever thought I'd ever be, because it's not what I thought it would be.
Okay.
I thought it would be me helping people. And right, there was a limit to that because I'm only one person.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't mind because I'll be doing what I really want to do and I think is the best thing I have in life to give. And so that was okay. And all I need a few bucks to rent or something, I'm
Mm.
not starting out at 20. And but what happened, I found by accident, and the people in the group told me that they're helping people. It's now
Okay.
members helping members get grants. It's not me.
Nice.
And I give them a little stipend to make it feel. No, they want to do it for free even because
Okay.
they see and this is what I feel is coming down. This group thing, uh, the community aspect
Mhm.
of helping and giving, uh, and that is what. And actually, maybe about 5, 6 years ago or something, I realized that growing up as a male in this country, that what we work on is muscles, right?
Mhm.
Speed, go faster than anybody. Brain, going to be smarter than anybody. But at 80, you're not going to be. You're not going to get anything faster, stronger, or smarter
Sure.
that you have. So you have nowhere to go, but maybe try to stay even if you're real lucky. So everything else is going to go downhill.
Okay.
But I really feel what you could still keep growing, no matter how old you are, is your heart.
Okay.
You could
I love it.
love more than anybody else.
Yep.
So that what seems to be, wow, I couldn't even say the word 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, in growing up, my culture, I never heard it in home. There were real nice people, but nobody ever said. I thought if I said love, I had to marry you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of thing. But now, and that keeps your heart open. Just
Well, but
saying
I,
the
I
word.
I think the other part of that, Matthew, is genuineness. I mean,
Yeah.
if you genuinely care about people,
Right.
you'll
Right.
attract other people that genuinely care about
Yeah.
people too. I think like attracts like in
Yeah.
more instances, and if you can build that community, I mean, I honestly, I love this idea. I mean, I think it's been kind of flitted around.
Yeah.
There's been so many. I mean, I can't even count how many groups I'm part of on
Right.
Facebook and other places, but
Right.
I can't say there's one place that I go to that I'm like, oh, okay, there's a one publishing group that I'm part of that I try my best to kind of be in there and and share my
Right.
experiences with people. But I honestly agree. I think it's that community piece
Yeah.
that's the next piece, and it's the beauty of that is that can be worldwide, which is
I think
amazing.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel that, and it changed. Oh, it changed my life. I mean, now, I mean, I'm so satisfied at what I'm doing now. I'm so happy or whatever.
Okay.
And I think to myself, God, if I knew being 80 would be this much fun, I would have got here earlier. Why did I wait so long?
Why did you wait so long? Why did you wait 80 years to get there? Come on now. I would have
Yeah.
never guessed you're 80, my friend. So, I mean,
I'm 81. I'll be.
I've always said that. I mean, 30 years in the financial business, I
Yeah,
can tell you I've met some of the youngest 90-year-olds and some of the oldest
great time.
50-year-olds in the world. And it's I think the other part of it is you're still actively involved and you still are reaching for that next thing. That's
Oh,
what keeps you
absolutely.
young. It's not, it's not anything that you do or anything you eat
Right.
or whatever. I think it's being involved and having that connection.
I believe.
Yeah, that is
There's
awesome.
something in me. I always have to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think, "Oh, what do you have to?" Oh boy, I do this 24/7 and just
Yeah.
try to fit in other parts of my life.
Well, so what do you think? I mean, like once again, I mean, I think where you're going or where you've gone is pretty
uh,
amazing. You're always a visionary. So tell me what you think, what's next coming down the road? What do
well,
you see happening coming
for
down the
me,
road?
is this how do I? There's two things always: how to help people and how
Hmm.
to market.
Okay.
So if you don't get a customer, you don't have a business.
Hmm.
So that is very important, and that I had to relearn. I'm still relearning that,
Hmm.
but it's interesting how you can take old skills in a new medium. Because I mean, I was on talk shows, so there's not those talk shows anymore. That people,
Hmm.
I mean, lots of money there, or infomercials. I mean, that just. But actually, the books, I can't. Well, maybe I could do this on it, but I don't know. I just trying to do it on. Uh, what bothers me a bit on this stuff is that the mega companies run all this stuff. Man,
Hmm.
you have no control over anything.
Yeah.
They could just change that algorithm tomorrow and leave you out in the street.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the thing that worries me anytime I'm looking at a Facebook or any of the
Yeah.
other ones. I mean, they view it as these are our clients and you're just there at that
Exactly.
point. So that's the thing that scares the hell out of me about this. What do you see? Do you see a vehicle out there that you can kind of grab people into your own world where you kind of protect that client base?
Well, I always keep a mailing list. I always keep up when I'm selling. And now my business is now, most of it is renewals.
Okay.
See, and that is, so the subscription
Mhm.
really helps.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the subscription before, it was one book, one book, one book.
Yep.
But a subscription is that. And then servicing that was, oh, I don't know if I want, that's a big management job.
Mhm.
And that's a pain in the ass. But, and not I'm good at, but now the members are doing it.
Okay.
So I'm just providing a place for them to play,
Mhm.
kind of, and some kind of figurehead to rally around or something.
Mhm.
And I'm there a lot, but not the many. I mean, right today we have probably 4 hours of members who are live on our Zoom calls that you could, chime in and ask them questions and
Mhm.
what do I do with this and how to do that or whatever all the time. But here's the most important thing: as an entrepreneur, I was hoping to just make a living or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just so goddamn profitable.
Yeah.
I can't believe it selling air. You know, before I used to sell books and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So we have that by selling air. So what we do now, we give 40% of all our sales back to the members.
Okay.
So we give about $70,000 a month to members, just
That's
in
awesome.
grants of $1,000 or
Okay.
$500. That really grows my heart
Yeah.
more than
So
anything else.
explain that a little bit. I mean, what's the grants? What is that for that you're
Well, we
doing?
have 4 different ones. We have one, you could get $500 or 1,000 to spend on anything you want. You want to
Okay.
go to Vegas, don't care. So that's just a fun. We have one for car repair. Because so
Okay.
many people know the car, man, you can't be in business, you can't do anything, you can't help your family. That's a
Yeah.
big thing in our
Can't get to your
society.
job or whatever. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So that we give out $15,000 there. Then we give out $20,000 for rent on the
Okay.
20th. So one is on the 4th of the month, one's on the 15th, one's on the 20th. And then on the 30th of the month, we give out 30 free laptops. Because so many
Wow.
people try to do everything on their little iPhone.
Mhm.
And to get in the government stuff, you really need a laptop. People do it, and
Yeah.
they've gotten money and help and everything do it, but you need a laptop to survive.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I thought I had to be Jeff Bezos to do something like that. So a little guy like me, able to do it, and that makes it, yeah, grows
That's
my heart a lot.
amazing. But
Yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
can't
but
believe.
that's the beauty of that is okay, everybody's putting into it, but you're giving back a ton. I mean, that's a lot of money,
Right.
Matthew,
Yeah.
to give
Well, I
out.
just looked
Yeah.
Facebook just came out with a report on a big publicity stunt they did. They're giving $100 million to small business and
Okay.
grants. Okay, look at their sales. They're 140 billion.
Hmm.
So 100 million to them is like 0.0007.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm doing 40%.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
No, I know. I
No.
can't believe it. Really.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm just, once again, uh, you just impressed me more with that, I think, than anything else that I knew about you, because you don't have to do that. I mean, how many of these internet entrepreneurs are,
oh,
got the pictures of them with Lamborghinis and all that garbage,
right,
and here you're sitting there going, hey, I'm changing people's lives, because
right.
that laptop can massively change their
Yeah,
lives. I
exactly.
mean, even from the perspective of, if I have that laptop, I could actually go out and,
Right.
do some work on Upwork or
Exactly.
Fiverr or something like that. If I have a
Right.
skill, I can
Right.
create my own business from that, which
Absolutely.
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Well,
No, I think it's now, and here's another thing that motivates me. I don't know if you see this graph here.
I see
This is a
I
graph,
see big lines.
right? Big lines across. Well,
Yeah.
this is of the 30, or I think they're like 35 developed countries.
Okay.
This is the poverty rate in developed countries.
Wow.
We're number one at 17%. We have the highest poverty rate in the developed world of the developed
In one of the
countries.
richest countries in the world.
Well, we're all the richest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have more poor people than any other developed country as a
That's
percentage
insane.
of population.
Yeah.
Now, this is another thing that gets me is why people are pissed off. This is a graph on wages.
Mm-hmm.
So total wages in our country. So
Okay.
back in 1980, when I was sort of getting hip to data and stuff like that, this says that 90% of the bottom 90% of the country,
Got it.
wage earners,
Uh-huh.
made 70% of all the wages.
Got it.
Okay. The top 10% made about 30% of all the wages.
Okay.
Fast forward to 2023, so the bottom 90% is down to about 55%.
Good.
But the top 10%, man, they're up to about 40 or 50 now.
I have not seen that graph before, but it's honestly true.
So this is the pie. This is the economic pie.
Yeah.
So who's getting smaller? Who's getting bigger?
Yeah.
And that is, but we are number one in millionaires. Yay! So we're number one in millionaires. There are 29 millionaires and 24 million millionaires. China has 6, Japan has 3, United Kingdom has 3, but we have 24 millionaires. 24 million.
24 million
So we have more millionaires than anybody else, and more poor people.
More poor people than anybody else. Wow. Yeah, and nothing in the middle.
Right. Exactly. They're getting squished.
Yeah, that is amazing. Well, Matthew, I just honestly, I'm so glad you were on the show today. Let's jump over into the fast 5 questions.
Sure.
All right. So first question, you wake up in the morning, business is gone. You still have the knowledge. You have $500 in your pocket, a laptop computer, a place to live. What are you going to do first?
Oh God, if I got a laptop,
I'm good.
I could sell air. I got nothing. It's selling anything. I mean, and even without a laptop, I mean, it's how are you going to market even if you don't have a laptop? Well, you put up you go to the library and you say, I want to do a course on how to make cheese or something like that. They'll give you the room and everything at market, and you don't charge. You can't charge a library. You see if there's a market for that, and you do that all for free. You don't hire a consultant, whatever, because if you have to do something that your heart is in, so you have to make sure that your heart is in this, because you're doing anything for the money, and you're getting experts to tell you what you're going to do, what you have to do to make that money. All that. That's not going to be right. It's not going to be. So you're going to run into a roadblock there, and you have to get over all the roadblocks. But if you're taking somebody else's 10 steps, you don't think they're yours. They're that asshole who gave it to you, and you won't figure out a way over it, or through it.
Well, I think, and the other part of that is you start getting in there, and if it was somebody else's idea, you start getting in there and realize, okay, this is not working. I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to be creative. And say, well, what do I need to, how do I pivot around this? Right. Awesome.
Absolutely. That's the key. And you're not there unless your heart's in it. That's why I gave up. I don't wear as many question marks as I do hearts.
Because you have hearts now. Yeah.
Right. Because your heart
there
is
you go.
That keeps you in that game. You need
that
a
is
heart.
Awesome. What's the biggest business mistake you've ever done or had?
Getting partners.
Yep. You and me both, brother. We are brothers from another mother. I'm right there.
I always think, because we're all scared as hell. We don't know what they're doing, so we want to get advice and pivot. That was always fun.
Yeah, I think the next book I'm going to write this next year is called Procrastination for Fun and Profit: How to Piss Off Your Partner Enough to Get Them to Buy You Out of Your Business.
That's great.
We don't even need to go any farther. The audience has heard my stories of partnerships, so it's never worked. It will never work.
Yeah,
I'm just, yeah.
likewise.
I have friends that I do things with, but yeah, actual economic partnerships, nope, not happening again.
Right, exactly.
What's a good
Same.
book that you'd recommend for our audience?
Oh God, a book on love. It just,
Okay.
yeah. Forget exactly the title. It's pretty popular now. Someone gave it to me in the building that I live in, and coming back from seeing our son uh, this past weekend, I was reading it aloud to my wife on the way down, and we've been married 40 some years or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You got to work on that because also in your business too, if you're in it for love, I mean that is, I see it's easier to manage people if you learn how to love them.
Hmm.
Uh, they don't, they're less likely to piss you off.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's really all about love. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
something we get rid of that selfish, and love is giving, not receiving, but capitalism is getting.
Hmm.
So sometimes they don't match.
That is awesome. I mean, that's a great thing. If you think of it, just email me and I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's a tool that you use in your business every day that you might recommend?
Oh, wow. Well, I think if you don't have money, here's my favorite: findhelp.org.
Findhelp.org. Okay.
Do you have a minute? Can you go online now and see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to findhelp.org. Put in your zip code
Okay.
on the left hand, upper left hand. Put in your zip
Yeah.
code.
It's take it forever here, but
Yeah.
okay. Any day now. Let me get rid of a
So you'll
couple of
be,
these. Get rid of a couple of the tabs that I have up on my computer here, but help. That's when I'm running the show in here. It's like, okay, yeah, it's taking forever.
right.
So tell me about findhelp.org.
Okay, find out that you put in your zip code when you get there,
Okay.
and that will show you only nonprofit organizations and
Okay.
government offices that give you money.
Okay.
And for you, there'll probably be 4,000 of them. And then you put in a keyword because you could do it for anything for expenses. So you have to
Okay.
pay rent. Okay,
Okay.
if you put rent in there, you'll get maybe 50 to 70 nonprofit organizations where you live that give money to pay rent. Are you there now? Is that
I
look a
just
little
got
like
there. Yep. It just finally
yeah.
popped up here.
And what do you got there? What does it show?
2,887 programs.
How many? What was how many thousand?
2,887.
Well, that's all nonprofit. See that's
Yeah.
the community part of our country.
Yeah.
See, we have the capitalist part and we have the community part.
Mm-hmm.
The community part represents a third of everything in our economy. Yeah, and that's why you have 3,000 or whatever it was. You know,
Yeah.
organizations in the community. And if you put in rent up there in the left hand search bar.
Okay. Rent and utility assistant. Yeah, it's amazing.
How many do you have there, you think?
You know what? Like in the immediate area, it looks like 6 within
No,
5 minutes of me.
but up on top, there should be a number up the total.
Oh yeah, it's 79. Sorry.
70. So you have
79.
79 places. If you have trouble paying rent, that you
Yeah.
could contact and see how they help you. See,
Yeah.
that is what keeps me going. God, people don't know that.
Well,
That
yeah, and I
have
mean, once again, your critics. I always loved your critics, yeah, because I was doing some research and I hadn't
yeah,
seen you in years, and I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, all the critics. Oh, well, like he's just he's giving out all this information that's already out there. Yeah, but try and find this stuff.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
and the key to that is don't use Google.
yeah,
You know, if you have money, you use Google. You don't have money, you can't go to Google. The
no,
other key thing about all this, you have to talk to people. You have to call those organizations and
mhm,
ask them for help. And if they don't, then ask them who else can help you. Because
yeah,
look, there's 70 people. Yeah. So a
Yeah.
lot of people
Well, I
working
mean,
on
and
that
I
process.
think that's the thing that, what I love about the nonprofit community is
Mhm.
they all know each other, so they know,
Right.
oh, okay, well, I can't help you, but here's this other
Exactly.
organization that can probably help you, and
Right.
everything
Right.
else. You just have to get into into the system. And I'm looking on
Right.
here, just on findhelp.org, food, housing, goods, transit, health, money, care, education, work, legal.
Right.
What
Exactly.
else do you need at that point?
That's why you want to start a business, you want to have that as a backup.
That's exactly correct. Yeah.
Right.
Trust
But
me, I've
also,
been there.
here's the best thing for starting a business. SBA, but you're not going to talk to them. They have a database. That's
Yep.
wonderful. SBA.gov
Hmm.
/ local dash assistance.
Okay.
And there, if you do the same thing and put in your zip code, you'll find, oh, maybe 10, 20, 30 organizations locally that are nonprofits, like all those people giving out rent, that help you start a business
That's awesome.
and don't charge you.
Yeah.
Legal help, any kind of help you need for your
Hmm.
business. They want you to grow. Texas has a lot of good stuff like that, a
Yeah.
lot of good money programs and everything.
Well, and I mean, there's so many programs where, like,
Yeah.
well, I always think of the one, Score. I mean,
Right.
your Score, literally you have an infinite amount of classes that you can take.
Exactly. Right.
You can have a consultant who
Right.
has
Exactly.
years of business experience that you
Right.
can sit down with. I mean, I
Right.
worked with Score for several
Right.
years, and
Right.
I mean, I've been there, done that, started many
Mhm.
businesses. You're
Right.
getting somebody who makes a good living that's sitting there
Right.
helping you or has made a great living.
Right.
So there are amazing amounts of resources that are out there. But yeah, I mean, I love that.
Right.
So last question for you.
Uh-huh.
What is your definition of freedom?
People not telling me what to do.
I'm seeing a theme with your life here, bud.
Boy, I mean, if I listened to everybody, I wouldn't have worn the suit,
Yep.
I wouldn't have done so many things. That's why, to me, I have one phrase anymore. Your heart is smarter than your brain.
I love it.
And you have to listen to your heart because that's telling you the truth. Yeah.
Well, Matthew, I have to tell you, this was exactly the interview I hoped this would be today.
Who else was
Yeah,
there?
absolutely. Just one of
Amazing.
my joys of this year,
Wow.
being able to
Wow.
interview you and really just once again pick your brain and be able to see, once again, you've always been kind of ahead of everybody else at this stuff, and I love the fact that you came in saying, you know what, I failed a bunch of times before I had a success. I had a very similar experience. I had 7
Yeah.
businesses fail before I had my first
Wow.
successful business.
Yeah.
And some of that
That's
was
what it is.
commitment. It was not being
Oh,
committed because
absolutely.
I had a good paying job, and I would start
Right.
a business,
Exactly.
and then it got hard, and I went, I don't want to deal with that
Right.
anymore.
Because your heart
Um,
wasn't in
and the heart
it.
wasn't in it. Once again,
Right.
I mean, I didn't have the heart shirt. So, I
Right.
mean, now I have to get the heart shirt, and we'll go there.
Right. Yeah.
But thank you for this interview
My
today.
pleasure.
I hope the audience enjoys it as much as I did,
Oh,
and
I enjoyed it. That's what counts.
look forward to maybe having you on again to
Yeah.
take this even farther.
I'll
So,
probably only be around about 10 more years, so don't wait too long.
all right, we won't wait too long. I'm gonna pick your brain as much as I can for as long. I don't see you going away that soon, but we'll keep going here.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for being on the show
Yeah,
today,
thanks.
folks. Matthew, if somebody wants to learn a little bit about your community, learn about you, where's the best place to go?
LesGoHelp.com.
Let's go help. I like that. Let's go help. .com. All right. So we'll put that in the show notes. Everybody, once again, go out there. His community is going to help you. He's going to help you. I think there's just so many things that are good are happening in his heart. So thanks a lot. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that little upvote button. make sure that you give us a 5-star if you can, so that we can get in front of more people. And thanks a lot. And we'll see you guys back here the very next time.